Hey, how you doing today? Just came back from a little bit of a ride. Wasn't raining this morning. It's supposed to rain again this afternoon, but it's about 48 degrees here in Vancouver, which is pretty good. It sort of bounces around. Some days could be 38 only, down to freezing at night, or it could be 40 at night and high 40s during the day. It's sort of a mixed bag. Anyway, something that's been on my mind for a while has been talking about Harley dealerships. And you go to get your bike serviced or whatever, and you have a bad experience, and you swear off that dealership. And I totally understand that. The same thing happened to me. My bike, I bought it at a Harley dealer, which is probably about a 6-hour ride from here. That was a year ago that I traded in my other bike and got this particular one. Anyway, they treated me like gold. Right from the sales staff to the parts staff, the service. I wanted to get a couple things done to the bike before I took it. They got everything through. I mean, I literally walked in there at noon hour and I rode out at 5 p.m., 5 hours later with my bike. Everything done. Totally happy. It was awesome. A buddy of mine traded in his bike and bought one from the same dealer just this past summer, and he totally had a bad experience. It was a lot of different things he wasn't happy with, and anyway, of course he took it back to a dealer to get these things rectified, which was closer to his house. He was also about 5 hours away. But anyway, what happened to me at the local dealership, which is like about 30 minutes away from me, so of course that's where I go, right? This is November 15th, so just brief history. March 4th, I was rear-ended by a car, and he smoked me doing 30 miles an hour. I was stopped at a red light for quite a while, and he was texting or some shit, and he smoked me. And so basically he rode off the back end of my bike. So everything from about here back is new, except the seat. I have a backrest and a luggage rack for it. That's also new. I don't run with that. Mufflers, back wheel, saddlebags, everything. So of course I took it into my local Harley dealership to get it fixed. I had the choice, write it off or get it repaired. The insurance gave me the option. But this is a really good bike. I had extended warranty on it, which was up until the end of July. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to fix this girl because it's been a good bike. It's a real good bike. So of course I took it in there and COVID happened and all that stuff, and parts got slowed down. Harley corporate is just crazy. The way they do things is crazy. COVID came and shut everything down, so I said to the dealer, I said, listen, put a used saddlebag on it, get a used saddlebag, used fender, paint it, I don't care, new or used. I mean, it's going to look good. The painter's going to do a good job, color match it, it's all good. And he said, the problem is we can't cancel an order. Harley corporate won't let us cancel an order. So we just have to wait. Well, then 3 months later, they were opened up again in Wisconsin or wherever it is. They were opened up again, and 3 months later, they tell us, "Oh, saddlebag's obsolete." Okay, so we couldn't cancel it. Why? In July, they told us, "Oh, the fender is back ordered by the manufacturer till the end of August." We couldn't cancel it. Like, why? Anyway, while the bike was there, and it's under complete warranty. I mean, everything was covered except tires and brake pads. Literally everything else was covered under the warranty. So I said, okay, do a full service on it, front to back, check everything out real careful, and anything you find that needs replacing or repairing, like, do it. It's under warranty. Normally I wouldn't pay for a full service like that. It's like $600, So anyway, They do that, and they replaced a couple things. My throttle control, I've got the fly-by-wire. It had some issues, so they replaced that. And then they checked it all, and I had his checklist, and it's all good to go. So October 1st, I picked up my bike. The next day, it's leaving oil drips underneath the primary. So I phoned him up. I said, hey, the primary's like leaking. It's leaving oil drips down there. He said, oh, well, it wasn't leaking when we checked it. And I thought, seriously? So I started scouting around for a small motorcycle repair place around. And I found one where the owner is a trained Harley tech. He actually worked at that dealership where my bike had been looked after. And so I went there just to see his shop. It's him and one other guy. I mean, he's full of motorcycles, so he's busy. Seems like a real honest guy. I was talking to him about a couple things I had, and he's the type of guy where if he thought the mechanic at another place had done a proper job, then he said, well, wait a minute, actually that mechanic was right in whatever he did. So I thought, wow, that's an honest guy. So I mentioned to him about my primary leak. You know what he did? He walked around the bike like this. Stuck his hand underneath like that, came up. It's all black, oily. He says, well, that's been leaking for a long time. Now think about this. It took him like, how many seconds? 5 seconds? And he checked it. He said it's been leaking for a long time. So that would have been covered under warranty. Now think about it. And I called Wisconsin and the warranty company. And I also sent an email to the upper management of this dealership and complained, which was a month ago, and they haven't responded. But I said, if he would have done his job and found that oil leak, then who knows what else they could have found. Maybe the compensator is a little bit wonky. They could have replaced that. Maybe the automatic chain adjuster was a little bit worn. They could have replaced that. Everything covered under warranty. They would have got all these service hours, all these parts, all covered. They'd be happy. It was a little gold mine for them. It could be, right? I'd be happy because I'm not paying a dime. The warranty company said, oh yeah, we would have replaced all that stuff that needed it for nothing. Of course, it's out of warranty end of July. This is October when I was talking to them. So nothing the warranty company could do about it. So I was pissed off, and I thought, man, I'm not going back to that dealer. I mean, the guy that looked after the repair, that was awesome. The sales staff, I like the sales staff there. The parts guys, you can ask them any stupid questions you want, and they always take the time to look after you. But whatever mechanic looked after checking out this bike didn't do his job. So then what else didn't he do? Well, I discovered, as you'll see in a previous video when I talk about greasing your steering head, he hadn't greased the steering head. I put half a tube of grease into that sucker before it came out a little bit at the top and the bottom bearings. So it was empty. It was dry in there. He didn't grease that. What else did he not do? All this stuff's going through my mind, okay? So anyway, about 3 weeks ago, I got pulled over by a motorcycle cop here in Vancouver. And the motorcycle cops here in Vancouver are terrible, okay? They go after you for anything. Anyways, it's 6:30 in the morning. He's got a roadblock set up because there's a big building on fire. And I guess when I approached it, I was gearing down. Now I've got Screaming Eagle, the street cannons, I guess they're called, which were replaced by the insurance company because I had the old Screaming Eagle exhausts, which were 3-inch, but you can't get those anymore. So now it's the 4-inch street cannons. So they put those on, and I haven't modified them, nothing. So anyway, I guess I was gearing down a little bit, and you heard this blah, 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 blah. type of thing, and he decided to pull me over. And he said, "Oh, your exhaust is too noisy." I said, "What?" I said, it's Screaming Eagle. It's Harley. And he's like, "Oh yeah, but it's like Reinhardt or them." I said, no. This is Screaming Eagle. This is from Harley. It's made to conform. He said, and I said, ICBC, like the insurance company, put them on. I got rear-ended by a car, right? And he said, "Well, I believe your story, so I'm not going to write you a ticket, which would be 3 demerits off your license." Well, thanks, buddy. But he did write me up for an inspection. So I had to take it to the Harley dealership within 30 days to get it inspected to make sure it conformed. So I went to the Harley dealership, closest one, of course, where I had problems with the service and I wasn't going to go back. But I took it there and I said, like, "How long is this going to take?" And she said, "Oh, it's like an hour and a half or a 2-hour job." I said, "Seriously?" She said, "Oh yeah, when we get these requirements for inspection, we have to inspect the whole bike. We have to safety check the entire bike. So that's like $140 an hour for an hour and a half or 2 hours." I'm like, holy shit, Anyway, the service manager, he overheard the conversation. He was sitting in his office behind, and he yells out at me. He says, he said, "You've been through enough. Okay, we're going to do this inspection. We're not going to charge you." Wow. Okay. So I started thinking about this, and I thought, the sales staff is good. The service reps are good. The service manager is obviously awesome. The repair manager, the guy that looks after warranty stuff, he was good. So what I had was one mechanic, shithouse luck, one mechanic that didn't do his job, and now I'm going to have to spend a day tearing this thing apart. I spent about $65 on tools. The whole gasket and seal kit is like $85, and I'm going to spend a day of my time ripping this thing apart sometime in the future to replace all the seals and everything in it, because one mechanic was bad. So again, I started thinking about it, and I thought, okay, now think about this. If you bought a bushel of apples and you had one bad apple in there, would you throw the whole bushel away? Of course not. You pick out the bad apple and you're happy with the rest. And you'd go back to that farm and you'd buy another bushel of apples because they were great apples. So I thought of it that way. I thought, you know what? The dealership's the same. There's a lot of people working there. One guy doesn't do his job, and it's just shithouse luck you get that guy, but everybody else is good, doesn't necessarily make the dealership bad. So those of you that are lucky enough, you get to know all the mechanics there, you find a good one and you request them all the time, that's awesome. Everybody else, when you go to a dealership, you might run into a salesman that's having a bad day and you think, oh man, this dealership sucks. Well, really, it's not the dealership. It's just that guy. Maybe it's worth another shot going back there. Might be surprised. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. Take care. Be safe.